To Uccello's for today's media luncheon. Our players are linebacker Colin Schlosser, quarterback Bart Williams, and head coach Matt Mitchell in the middle. Coach Mitchell picked up his 75th career win to move him into second all-time in the Laker record books for coaching victories. Grand Valley State will host a watch party at Lubber Stadium Saturday at 1 o'clock. Gates open at 12 p.m. The game can be watched on the video board. The first 1,000 students will receive tote bags from the lodge. So, Coach, if we can talk about the game from Truman State, the victory over the Bulldogs, and then we'll move on to the Bulldogs of Fair State. Thanks.
Sure. We got off to a great start offensively. Every possession in the first half, we scored a touchdown. No turnovers. Bart, probably one of his better halves of football, was 15 for 15. Really clean pockets, really nice throws, and some of our guys made some really nice plays on the football. Brandon Mean and Nick Kaiser. Obviously, Dodson's been a guy we've been looking to in the red zone a little bit, down for some touchdowns. But I thought we were really crisp, really efficient on the offensive side of the ball, especially obviously in the first half. Defensively, the first series, they ran, we kind of thought would happen, ran a couple of new things. They were arcing the tight end and giving us a couple of different surfaces up front, and kind of got settled in. I felt like we should have had an interception on the first drive that was ruled incomplete. That looked like an interception on tape, could have got off the field. But after that first series, we settled in. I think we played physical. We fit the run a lot better and harassed the quarterback. He was very elusive back there in the backfield, but we got him scrambling and throwing the ball out of bounds, and wish we could have maybe finished a little bit more on the quarterback, had a couple more sacks. But really controlled the line of scrimmage extremely well on the defensive side of the ball once after that first series. And our special teams were pretty good. We forced another turnover on our kickoff unit, which has been really key, and didn't have any really big busts on that. So winning halftime, made the decision based on just kind of how things were going to pull down our tailbacks for the second half. And we left our starters in there for one series. We kind of got off schedule because of a penalty and had to punt. And then after that, we put in Cole Katopka and kept most of the wideouts out there except for Bean and our starting O-line. And I thought Cole did a good job. He missed Nick Dotson on an out route, but for the most part, we got him in there and got him some game experience besides just handing the ball off. And then we made the wholesale substitution with the entire twos. They weren't very clean. It's obvious why they were twos and not ones. The disappointing that in a couple games here we've inserted those guys in the third quarter and we can't consistently be able to run the ball up front when we're getting the same looks that our starters are getting. Defensively, went out there, with the series, and then we started pulling guys down and getting a lot of backups in there. And I thought they did a pretty good job. They're aided by some penalties that put Truman off schedule, but for the most part, kept the 7 points on the board for most of the third and the fourth. And then about 4.5 minutes left to go in the fourth. Their administration informed us that there was a lightning strike, I think within 10 miles. So got out there with Coach Nesbitt. We both were, on the same page about at that point, instead of going back in the locker room, waiting out the last lightning strike. And then the rule is after the last strike, you got to wait 30 minutes before you can retake the field, given the score at the time, that was probably in the best interest of both teams to call the game at that point. So, I thought everybody at Truman State was great hosts, great administration. Their AD was down the sideline, head athletic trainer, head coach. I thought there was great communication between GVSU and Truman State on that situation. So we called it and able to get on the road, still a long bus ride home, but we got back in and watched the tape yesterday and got a good lift and started to get ready for this week. So we handled the 8.5-hour bus trip well. I also want to give a lot of props to Monmouth College. We did a walkthrough there. They were very hospitable to us when we called them up. So we had a lot of positive travel experiences. Some of the people we dealt with on the way down. Ferris, excellent defense, really elite defense. Got a lot of seniors on defense. All three levels of their defense. I think all four of their guys starting in the secondary seniors. All three of their linebackers are seniors. You got a lot of experience at all three levels. They're really dominant. Big, physical, tackle extremely well. Have not given up a whole lot on the ground at all because of the size of their people and their scheme. From an offensive standpoint, there's a lot of challenges that we're familiar with in regards to, a lot of their run scheme is very difficult, and then they'll throw the ball over the top. So it's a difficult offense to defend from a schematic standpoint. and they've got some really good players to match. Malik Taylor's, he hurt us in the playoffs last year, and he's a really dominant wideout outside, and they've got good backs. And, the quarterback thing, obviously, we'll see how that goes down on Saturday, but I think Travis Russell's done a nice job coming in. And, since the Ashland game where he got pressed into action at Ashland, since then he's done a nice job of, putting wins on the board. So they're very good on special teams. They've been blocking punts, very aggressive on special teams. So it's a complete team. I think where they're ranked out nationally is appropriate. They're definitely a top 10, top 5 Division II team when you watch them on tape. So third straight road game, got to head up there, and we'll just get involved in the process this week. It's all about the preparation that we have and making sure that our guys are focused up and ready to play, and we head up to Big Rapids at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
Coach, I know you wanted your offense to get a little more consistency and get a little more complete game going with what happened this last weekend. Has that come about, and is it as ready as you can be for the Ferris game?
Yeah, I think after the Saginaw game, challenged our offense to play better than they didn't play up to their potential, so challenged them. I think the last 2 weeks they've done a really nice job of that. I think they've risen to the occasion. Like I said, I thought we had a lot of physical runs in there. They tried to run some cover zero. We popped a run with Martavius. I thought Bryce ran extremely hard too. And then I think the biggest thing I saw from the sideline was Bart being on point. A large part of that had to do with the clean pocket. He's 15 for 15. It was a really clean pocket. So I think we're going to see a big jump in pass rush from a talent standpoint this Saturday. So that is going to be, a challenge for our offensive line moving forward, is to keep some of those guys. Like, Silers obviously led our league last year in sacks and is an extremely productive defensive lineman. I think it's going to be, a big challenge for those guys this week up front, given the size and the talent that they have, to try to keep another clean pocket for Bart, because I think that's been a really big difference here the past couple weeks.
Matt, this is the second straight game with Ferris where there's been a little bit of a guessing game going on whether or not their top quarterback is going to be available, how much will he be available. Is there any kind of a danger for your team that you might overlook a little bit if what they've been doing lately, and how this young guy has come in and done a credible job for them playing?
Yeah, I think the thing is we have tape and on Travis Russell here, like the past, I think 4 games he's been playing, and we also have tape and firsthand experience with Reggie Bell. He was a starting quarterback in 2016 for both the games that we played him. And so we have him on tape. We have a lot of tape from 2016. We have tapes from 17. So, I think their scheme is their scheme. The way that both guys manage it maybe is a little bit different, but they have confidence in their offense. They're going to run their offense. The trigger man, if whoever's out there, might be some nuances to it, but I don't think that it's anything that we won't be prepared for because of what we have on tape. And a lot of these guys on defense, Colin and a lot of the guys that have been played them twice last year too. So they're familiar with their offense.
So Mitch, obviously Ferris, if you really look at that offense, as explosive as it is, running the ball is really still their primary objective. So with that in mind, talk a little bit about, you mentioned Malik Taylor a little bit ago. Obviously he's going to present a challenge that maybe the team hasn't seen thus far this year, but really only been beat over the top on a single play. Tell me about what he and the rest of the receiving crew presents as far as challenge-wise, as far as what Ferris is going to try and do Saturday.
Right. I think, first of all, from a talent standpoint, when you look at our league, our schedule up to this point, I don't know that we faced a receiver of his caliber. 2, I think last year in the playoff game was kind of an illustration of what he can do. I think we were concerned about some of the deep balls down the sideline, some of the fade balls, and he broke off some routes underneath, caught the ball, and we had trouble tackling him at the corner position on balls that were thrown in front of us. And so when you have a receiver that is fast enough to go over the top and beat you over the top, yet he can sit on a hitch or sit on a stop route or a comeback or something and catch it and advance it, those are scary guys. And virtually impossible, Tony, to double a guy given the scheme. With a running quarterback and the +1 run game and what you're seeing upside in the box. At some point, on Saturday, and it's going to be not just this matchup, but there's going to be a lot of these matchups on both sides of the ball. It's going to be, GV guy versus a Ferris guy, and you have to consistently win more of those matchups. So, It's good that we got Kalen Dunham back. He was injured, for probably game 2 through 4, him back. And I think DeMario Johnson's having a really good sophomore season. And you got Trey Walton back there. And so, at some point, one of those guys is going to be on him. And they got to make some plays when the ball's in the air.
Mitch, with the rivalry game that this is, all 3 phases are going to be really important. You talk a little bit about how your special teams, your kicking game has evolved, and then talk a little bit about what Ferris presents on special teams.
Sure. I said this, I don't know if it was last week or maybe I said it on one of the deals. If you take a look at 5 of our 6 special units, we're playing really well, really well. Kickoff return is up there nationally in terms of return yards with Brandon Wadley. Punt return, I think Brandon Bean's getting more and more comfortable. He's making some really good decisions back there. We've blocked a couple punts. We've been aggressive at times. Our kickoff coverage has been outstanding. I don't think, I'll have to go back and check this, but I don't think anybody's started with the ball beyond the 30-yard line the entire season because of our kickoff coverage. Maybe the 31 was as far as anybody's gotten with their kickoff return team. And the one unit that hasn't been real sharp when it comes to the kicking is the extra point field goal team. Now, we've made every single extra point with Avery Eccles in there. But I think we're 1 for 2 on the field goals, and we need to continue to work on that side of the thing that way. So we've got some guys that are playing on those teams that are really embracing those rules, like Brendan McMahon is a backup linebacker. He's been doing great on special teams. Tyler Bradfield, Bryce Young Walls. I've got some guys that really have a lot of buy-in to special teams and believe in it. When I watch the tape of their special teams, they're super aggressive on their punt return team. They blocked a lot of punts. They blocked basically, 3 punts against Wayne State, which really turned that game over. Same thing with Saginaw. So I think how they've been able to break open some of these games recently with Reggie Bell being out is they've had some really good special teams play. That is, got them some great field position or even potentially scored for them on that end, and they've made up, with having a new quarterback in there. I think that those units have taken over. So, yeah, big challenge. All 3 units, offense, defense, special teams, have got, big challenges this week. There's not really a whole lot of chinks in the armor when you take a look at Ferris's operation from an OD and special team standpoint.
Barton Collin, obviously Grand Valley and Ferris, a classic rivalry in football. What extra emotion and motivation is added to this matchup considering what happened last time the 2 teams met?
I think we're just trying to attack it just like every other game. They're a good squad, probably one of the more talented squads we'll see all year. But I think that if we try to look at it as revenge for what happened in the playoffs last year, I think we'll kind of lose sight of the task at hand. So I think we just got to get everybody bought in to just prepare for this game like it's any other game with the same intent that we do every week.
Yeah, I second that. As Bart said, just kind of handle it just like another game. If we try and, hype it up more than, other games, then it's, people are going to play out of their heads. So, just approach it how we approach, any other game that we've had this season and, kind of trust the process. We'll be, things will work out however they work out.
Coach, on Saturday you mentioned that Marty only got a couple carries because at one point in the game he got a little banged up. Is there any update on that situation?
No, we're not with our players on Monday, so we'll see. I don't think it's going to be anything that's keep him out of the game. It's just been something we've kind of managed and lingered with. He could have gone back in the game second half, but given the score and the situation, we chose to sit him and Bryce, for the second half because we did have Caleb Richard and we had Dreon Kemp who were on the trip and wanted to try to get them some more experiences because we felt like we had a really good handle with what Martavius and Bryce have done for our program. So I don't, unless something drastic changes here the next 24, 48, 72 hours, 96 hours, wherever it is, I don't anticipate him not having him for the football game on Saturday.
Bart, 15 of 15 set a new record at Grand Valley. Well, set a record. All records are new, right? But did you realize it at the time? What does it mean to you? How did it happen, basically?
Yeah, I kind of throughout the game, I guess it wasn't something I was keeping track of, like tallying up on the sideline. But after each trip, I just kind of walked off like the ball didn't hit the ground. But really, I think a lot of that is we had a lot of contested catches. Brandon Wadley he got pass interference on that one down the sideline, great catch. Brandon Bean had a couple good catches. Thurston Smith made a catch above his head in the middle of the defense. So credit to those guys. Like Coach Mitchell said at the beginning, offensive line was giving me great pockets. So if I can stay clean, which I did, I didn't have to take a shot on any of those throws. I expect to make those throws. I mean, for 15 throws, you don't anticipate none of them hitting the ground. If something happened, the ball could get batted down, drop pass, bad ball, just something like that. But fortunate enough, we executed the plays, executed the pass game, kept me clean up front, and the wideouts made some good plays.
Does the record mean anything to you?
I guess it's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, with our down the field pass attack, I never thought I'd hold a record of like most consecutive completions. But yeah, I guess it's just credit to the preparation that we put in the quarterback room with Coach B and the entire pass game. Really, the whole offense had a big role in that.
Colin, there seems to, on defense, there's been a steady improvement kind of to our eyes, just watching. Is that the same thing you see, game by game on the field and feel on the field?
Yeah, definitely. Coming from, excuse me, game one, where we got ripped a little bit in the run. We had some things to improve on. We knew that, going in on film, and it just seems like every week, we're getting stronger and stronger at every position. D-line, linebackers, defensive backs. It's encouraging to see, the things that we see on tape, that we see on film on Sundays, to be able to make those corrections moving into the next week. But yeah, I definitely agree. We've improved a lot as a defense every single week.
Kind of going off that question, Colin. Week one, we saw Indianapolis run the ball really a lot against your guys' defense, and now coming up, 6 or 7 weeks later, what kind of difference will we see from your defense now that you guys have improved and got more comfortable with each other?
Difference. I don't know so much you'll see a difference. Obviously there's going to be things that we're going to have to do a little bit differently. Facing Ferris and the problems that they pose. Offensively. So you might see differences that way, but it all boils down to one thing. Just we have our game plan and just stay disciplined to that game plan. And if we trust that and we're able to do that, we'll be successful.
Okay, that will conclude today's media luncheon. Again, the game's on ESPN3, 1 p.m. kickoff. And in addition, the GVSU watch party. Gates will open at 12 at Liver Stadium. And the first 1,000 fans will get a tote bag and can watch the game on the largest video screen in Division II. Thanks.